All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are unpacking a really profound insight from a recent homily by Father Joel Sus Gatus. It's all about hidden pain, empathy, and, those invisible ripples our actions create in the world. It's honestly a fascinating look at human emotion, and it goes way beyond its original context. The lessons here, they apply to literally anyone just trying to navigate modern life. So, to kick things off, let's start with a bit of a riddle that instantly, completely shifts our perspective. What do you think is the most expensive water in the entire world? Are you thinking of some crazy luxury bottled water you buy at a fancy airport? It's a pretty clever hook, but I promise you, the answer is totally unexpected. Yeah, the answer isn't a luxury brand at all. It's tears. Why? Because a tear is made up of only 1% actual water. And that other 99%? That is pure, deep emotion. We're talking about pain, exhaustion, betrayal, and just this intense longing poured straight from the heart. Think about it. When someone's crying, you aren't just looking at water dropping from their eyes. You are literally witnessing the physical manifestation of a massive, unseen burden. Moving right along to our first major concept, the ripple effect of pain. Now think about the chain reaction of cruelty. It's wild when you really break it down. When you hurt someone, maybe you humiliate an employee, betray a partner, or just unfairly scold someone, you aren't just hurting them in some isolated vacuum. No way. You are actually wounding their parents, their spouse, their kids. You are causing pain to every single person who loves them. The collateral damage of our negative actions is huge, and yet it's usually completely invisible to us. And honestly, this wisdom hits especially hard today, right? In our hyper-connected world, those careless, angry comments left in a social media comment section aren't just meaningless digital noise. They can leave real, permanent scars on actual people. So before firing off that nasty post, we've got to remember there's a real human being on the other side of that screen, carrying their own 99% of emotional weight. Okay, let's shift gears to section 2, Mary at the cross. To really ground this idea, the source draws on the biblical story of Mary standing at the foot of the cross while her son is in absolute agony. Here's the thing. She couldn't magically solve the problem. She couldn't pull out the nails, she couldn't stop the physical scourging, and she couldn't erase those wounds. She was completely powerless to fix the actual situation. But she stayed. She didn't abandon him in his darkest hour. She chose presence over power. And that brings us to this incredibly powerful thesis. The highest form of love is staying while someone is hurting. We are so often conditioned to think that we always need to have a solution, some quick fix, or the exact right magic words to say. But sometimes the most profound act of love is simply being present in someone's suffering. If you can't solve the problem, just sitting with them in the dark is absolutely enough.
Which leads us perfectly into section 3, the truest love.
So the homily points out a really fascinating distinction here. There is a massive difference between just going through the motions and actually living an empathetic life. Merely performing religious rituals, like showing up to church or reciting a quick prayer, that's the easy part. But being truly spiritual, which the speaker defines here as being a true Christian, means actively guarding your words. It means consciously making the choice to protect the hearts and feelings of the people around you every single day. And the driving force behind that kind of protective behavior, it's empathy. We always have to remember this vital truth. Every single person you meet, every single day, is fighting a battle you know absolutely nothing about. Seriously, they might look perfectly fine on the outside, but inside, they could be carrying unimaginable heaviness, sorrow, and pain. Recognizing that unseen battle is literally the foundation of genuine compassion. All right, bringing it all together in our final section, a challenge to everyone. The source actually gives us this incredibly practical 4-step checklist for navigating the modern world. It's pretty straightforward. Pray before you speak. Pray before you act. Pray before you hit that post button on social media. And most importantly, pray before you risk hurting anyone. It's basically this urgent call to insert a moment of mindfulness and grace right between our raw emotions and our gut reactions. To close out the argument, there's a really strong theological warning presented here. The source asserts that if you actively cause suffering to your fellow human beings, well, God is deaf to your prayers. The logic is pretty clear. You just can't expect grace and understanding if your own life is characterized by spreading toxicity and pain to the folks around you. So we're going to leave you with this provocative final thought, a direct challenge straight from the source material.
Are you ready to change your heart? As you go about your day and reflect on your own interactions, whether they're in person or online, ask yourself, will you continue the invisible cycle of pain, or will you choose the truest form of love? Remember, 99% of a tear is emotion, so let's choose to protect the hearts of those around us. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring these fascinating ideas, and